From the safe confines of the New Arts and Media Studios in Milwaukee, I'm Charles Purcell, and this is The Log, our final Day 4 journal of the Republican National Convention, the fascist, MAGA, white Christian nationalist, patriarchal, bigoted, fascist, authoritarian, neo-Nazi rally. As you know, if you've been listening, this is the fourth in the series here. I did a little journal every night. My experience down there as a producer, reporter, working with Pacifica Radio. I went into this thing knowing that I wasn't going to be happy about it. Well, I'm happy to work with Pacifica, a great group of people, a great outfit, non-corporate media, the way media ought to work in this country, progressives. So I'm proud of that, proud of the work we did. But just knowing I had to be there sort of made me sick inside. So, well, I'll make the best of it. And I went in with a goal. My biggest goal was I really wanted to try to understand these people. Because I just kept thinking that there must be something I'm missing. How is it possible? How is it even possible that these people could exist? That they could believe what they believe? The lies, lie after lie. And they're not just lies. It's not like, they say the inflation rate is twice as much as it is. They say the exact opposite of things. Crime is at all-time highs when we're actually at 50-year lows. The truth, there's no such thing as truth. It just really doesn't matter. Whatever makes them feel good, whatever can rile them up, whatever can make their enemy look bad, it doesn't matter. Truth is entirely irrelevant to these people now. And now I've been up close and personal with them. I've spoken with them. I've walked among them. I was down on the floor of the convention. And all these call and response, is your life better now than it was 4 years ago? Yeah, no. And just lie after lie. So I went in trying to understand them. And I have to say, I think I do understand them. They're fucking insane. It's as though they've been hypnotized. If you read any history, you hear about this sort of mass hysteria, this mass hypnosis that would happen at Hitler's Nuremberg rallies. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you, I stepped back in time tonight. I attended a Nazi Nuremberg rally where there was no such thing as truth, where hatred just spewed. Anytime they'd make some sort of crack about trans people, the entire 10,000 people just, ooh, the hatred. Anytime any mention of their political opponents. I was there tonight while Franklin Graham, son of Billy Graham, led a prayer and thanked God for Donald Trump because he kept his promise to ensure religious liberty. And for them, of course, religious liberty means the legal right to discriminate, the permission, the blessing to hate gay people, the permission, the blessing to take away health rights from women in the name of religious liberty. And so he leads this prayer, and hands go up, and heads are bowed, and eyes are closed in this sea of white faces, thanking God for their white privilege. None of this is normal. None of this is right. My fellow Americans, this nation is in danger. Because at this point in the process, the chances look pretty damn good that the Orange Menace could actually win. There's no getting around the facts. It ain't over till it's over, and I'll do everything I can to see that it doesn't happen. But we have to know that it's very possible. In fact, at this point, as we speak, it's likely. Yeah, I knew I wasn't going to like it, but I didn't anticipate this level of outrage. We can't have this. This is just sick. And this is without even getting into the whole Agenda 47 and Project 2025, destroy basic government and install an entire cabal of sycophants and loyalists, create an imperial presidency. take a hatchet to the rights of LGBTQ and women and people of color, allow the continuing flow of trillions of dollars to the 0.01%, a complete callous disregard for people in poverty, for people in the middle class, just barely getting by, paycheck to paycheck, because that's what the middle class is now. Lying about everything under the sun until the very concept of truth is passé. They're killing it. So something else I got to sit through in the room tonight was Hulk Hogan, the professional wrestler, who just took the whole damn show to a brand new low. Politics in America has always been a pretty rough and a pretty weird game. But I can't really imagine it ever really sinking to these depths of farce, of circus. He came out in full character as Hulk Hogan and did the whole wrestling kind of thing, and shared all the lies that Eric and Don Jr. backstage told him to, they gave him the sheet of, here are the lies, here's your sheet of lies. But he did his big shtick. And you've never seen the Orange Menace happier. He just was eating it up. And the crowd was too. They were just loving it. About how they were going to destroy the Democrats. And how tough the Orange Menace is. My job ended at 9 o'clock. That's when our program ended on Pacifica Radio. And I had no further responsibilities. So I was in the hall at 9 o'clock when we signed off the air. And I couldn't get out of there quick enough. There was no way in hell I was going to stay in my seat and listen to the lying ass of the Orange Menace. I got out of there. I made a beeline to the door. I couldn't be in the same building with him. Now, if you're going to accuse me of adding to the hate, go ahead, accuse me. I'll make this small explanation here, which I've done several times over the years, but sometimes I have to remind people. I don't hate any one single person, not even the Orange Menace. I don't know what made him that way. I don't know how he got that way. That was my question with the whole MAGA crowd. How did you get this way? I don't hate any of them either. I'm just flabbergasted at how you can arrive at this state of affairs. So I don't know what happened to them. If they got dropped as babies and they lost part of their brain, or if they had abusive parents, or I don't know what happened. Something happened to these people to make them gullible, to make them mean and selfish and bigoted. My God. But I don't know. I don't know what happened to the Orange Menace. If his father never hugged him. I don't know why he is what he is. So when I complain about these people in the most severe of terms, it's the ideology that I'm complaining about. It's MAGA. It's the philosophy of hate. It's the wrapping it all up in love and goodness. Every speaker, this is the Orange Menace's third convention now. He's been the nominee 3 times. And every 4 years we hear the same thing from speaker after speaker. Heard it again tonight. That, the cameras you don't see at home the real Donald Trump. How empathetic he is, and how compassionate, and how kind and patient, and how smart. Yeah, apparently we just never see it. Only when the cameras are off, he's the most wonderful person in the world. We hear it every 4 years, and I heard it again tonight. So no, I don't hate the people because I don't know what happened to them. They're sick, they're lost, in the light of the assassination attempt. I'm not going to change my rhetoric because my rhetoric has always been very clear. I've always made it very clear that yes, we have to absolutely do everything we can to destroy this ideology before it destroys us and the whole damn world. And I'm more convinced than ever, after spending 4 nights with these people, that the comparisons to Nazi Germany are absolutely valid. I attended basically a Nuremberg rally tonight, and they were frenzied. They loved every minute of it, and they especially loved when they could boo and hiss at their enemies, and they could blame immigrants, illegals, aliens, when they could mock transgender people, when they could cheer for a Supreme Court that took away 50 years of women's rights to health care, wearing buttons that say mass deportation, chanting drill baby drill, drill baby drill, in the face of devastating, life-altering climate crisis, which they 100% totally deny. It's not even up for debate anymore in the new MAGA party. The GOP is dead. The Republican Party is dead. They were bad enough, but they're gone. This is MAGA, and MAGA is Nazi, and I'm not going to apologize for saying that. That's where we are. In fact, I want to go back to last night. I'm going to play something for you. I'm going to play a section of J.D. Vance's acceptance speech for vice president. Because as I was listening, I started hearing some very familiar themes. And as it continued, it became more and more clear. And by the time this section of the speech was over, I said, hey, this is blood and soil. Are you familiar with the phrase, with the term blood and soil? It goes back in German history and eventually led up to the Nazi movement, and it became sort of the underlying philosophy for Nazism. Without going too deeply into it, simply put, blood and soil is this sort of pseudo-philosophical, political, cultural, spiritual doctrine, idea, that there are people who belong together with a shared heritage, and that they are inextricably tied to their homeland. And there's a great enthusiasm and a romanticizing for the poor peasant, and for the rural life, and for the simple life. And these were the underpinnings of what became the most vile and deadly movement in modern history, the German Nazis of the 1930s and the ascension of Hitler. Okay, so just listen. I want you to listen to J.D. Vance. This is unedited except to take out the applause. So, as he gave the address last night toward the end of his speech, again, only edited for applause.
You know, one of the things that you hear people say sometimes is that America is an idea.
And of course, what he's talking about there is Joe Biden. That's Joe Biden's favorite line. America is an idea. It's one of my favorite lines, too. I've used it a lot. But when he says people, he means Joe Biden.
And to be clear, America was indeed founded on brilliant ideas like the rule of law and religious liberty, things written into the fabric of our Constitution and our nation. But America is not just an idea. It is a group of people with a shared history and a common future.
That was the first line that really made me raise my eyebrows. A shared heritage. The people who came over in slave boats, the ones that made it, yeah, I'm not sure we all quite share the same history. But of course, we know who he's talking about. He's only talking about a select few.
It is, in short, a nation.
There it is. There it is. That was my first whiff, equating a certain race of people with the nation.
Now, it is part of that tradition, of course, that we welcome newcomers. But when we allow newcomers into our American family, we allow them on our terms.
On our terms. Who's our? Who's us? Who's we? And who's they? There's a hierarchy here. Don't you forget it. You might come to this country, but you'll never really be like us. We're the bosses.
That's the way we preserve the continuity of this project from 250 years past to hopefully 250 years in the future.
Think about that. He's talking about maintaining a very particular culture for 250 years. We don't know what the melting pot is going to do in 250 years, but J.D. Vance knows that we have to structure the rules of this society in order to preserve the natural order, the hierarchy based on race and heritage.
And let me illustrate this with a story, if I may. I'm, of course, married to the daughter of South Asian immigrants to this country. Incredible people. people who genuinely have enriched this country in so many ways. And of course, I'm biased because I love my wife and her family, but it's true.
All right, a little ingratiating and pandering there for the in-laws.
Now, when I proposed to my wife, we were in law school, and I said, honey, I come with $120,000 worth of law school debt and a cemetery plot on a mountainside in eastern Kentucky. And I guess standing here tonight, it's just gotten weirder and weirder, honey.
Yeah, you're right, JD. It is getting weirder and weirder. And this is where the whiff became a stench. Cemetery plots? Yeah. Blood and soil.
But that's what she was getting. Now, that cemetery plot in eastern Kentucky is near my family's ancestral home.
There it is. There it is. Another red flag. Ancestral home. Listen.
And like a lot of people, we came from the mountains of Appalachia into the factories of Ohio, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin.
Here we go. Let's romanticize the rural life and the poor peasants.
Now, that's Kentucky coal country, one of the 10 poorest counties in the entire United States of America.
Whoops, there it is.
They are very hardworking people, and they're very good people. They're the kind of people who would give you the shirt off their back even if they can't afford enough to eat. And our media calls them privileged and looks down on them. But they love this country, not only because it's a good idea.
There he is. He's reiterating that. We are not an idea. He's going full blood and soil now.
But because in their bones they know that this is their home, and it will be their children's home, and they would die fighting to protect it. That is the source of America's greatness.
Okay, but at this point in the speech, I'm perfectly clear on what he's about and what he's doing. There can be no question as to where he is philosophically. He shares this pre-Nazi foundation.
As a United States Senator, I get to represent millions of people in the great state of Ohio with similar stories, and it is the great honor of my life. Now, in that cemetery, there are people who were born around the time of the Civil War. And if, as I hope, my wife and I are eventually laid to rest there, and our kids follow us.
Wait a minute, what? When our kids follow us? Into the grave? What kind of a psychopath talks about their kids dying and being buried in their cemetery? Who talks about that? Listen to this guy.
There will be 7 generations just in that small mountain cemetery plot in eastern Kentucky. 7 generations of people who have fought for this country, who have built this country, who have made things in this country, and who would fight and die to protect this country if they were asked to.
And there it is. There it is. You fight and you die to protect your country, your land. You spill your blood to protect the soil. When you believe that so strongly, you can justify anything.
Now, that's not just an idea, my friends. That's not just a set of principles. Even though the ideas and the principles are great, that is a homeland. That is our homeland.
He couldn't be any more clearer at this point. It's not only a homeland, it's our homeland. Again, who's our? Well, a reminder, he's talking to an entire arena filled with white Christian heteros. And as for what you die for, the common linguistic tradition in America has always been that we fight and we die. Not that I condone this, but I mean, the standard is that soldiers fight and die for an idea, for democracy, for freedom. This is very, very different than that. No, you don't fight for ideas. You don't fight for concepts like democracy and freedom. No, you fight for the land. You fight for the soil where you're going to be buried. This is sick shit.
People will not fight for abstractions, but they will fight for their home. And if this movement of ours is going to succeed, and if this country is going to thrive, our leaders have to remember that America is a nation and its citizens deserve leaders who put its interests first.
All right. You might think I'm reading into this. You might think I'm going overboard. I don't think I am. I'm not. I think this is very clear. America first, right out of the Nazi playbook. Make America great again. Make Germany great again. Right out of the playbook. And you know, J.D. Vance, win or lose in 2024, you know that this man is guaranteed to be the 2028 MAGA nominee for president. You know that. Whether he wins, whether he loses this year, he's the candidate for 2028. He is the MAGA candidate for president. This is what we're facing now from that side of the political spectrum. We got full-blown neo-Nazis preaching the gospel of blood and soil. And tonight, I got in a time machine and I attended a Nuremberg rally because these people, in a state of mass hypnosis, believe the lies, repeat the lies, cheer for the lies. They revel in vindictiveness, in revenge, in hate for the opposition, in hate for their enemies. I went into this project with the goal of understanding these people. I think my goal has been reached. I think I understand them. They're fucking Nazis.